You're listening to the Health and Wellness Podcast, curated by Dr. Lori Marzell. Dr. Marzell is a primary care physician and a certified menopause practitioner that combines the wisdom of natural medicine with modern medicine to help maintain optimal health. She has a special focus in food allergies and bioidentical hormone replacement. Thank you so much for being here. Enjoy the show.
So we are talking about chronic and acute phase reactions, and how do you tell the difference? Well, chronic reactions are there all the time. The person breaks out in a rash, and that rash just stays there. He always has it. Acne is an excellent example of this. Now, it's not unusual for teenagers, of course, to have acne because their hormones are starting to be produced and their body's kind of up and down and going through a lot of changes. However, when you have acne in a 35-year-old or eczema, things like that something else is going on with that person. They're not in the throes of adolescence. They are an adult and they're still having problems. Then you start thinking about what could possibly be causing this. People with sensitive guts are another good example. They'll say, "Oh, my gut is always sensitive," or I get stomach aches so easily," or things like that. Eczema is a chronic reaction. Usually, there's different types, but eczema from a food is there all the time as long as that food is in the diet. And usually people are on chronic drug therapy of some type or topical therapy. What they need to do is have a food allergy test. Another of my favorite little chronic markers of a food allergy reaction are people that kind of ignore things. This happens all the time, especially upper respiratory problems. Their nose runs all the time. If you looked inside their nose, you could see their nasal mucosa is often very swollen. The more allergies they have, the more swollen. Now, yes, this can happen from environmental allergies, but the environment changes. And when you have a chronically swollen, by the way, let me stop right now and make a big point. If you have environmental allergies, it is almost guaranteed that you will probably have some food allergies. Could this make a difference in your health? Let me answer with a huge yes. Oftentimes, I have people in my office sometimes that, I don't have any allergies. And one of my favorite stories is called The Sniffer. This person could not go through 5 seconds without sniffing. And I would talk to him and he'd sniff, 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 trying to get his history. And, something's wrong. He's chronically congested. People who have chronic swollen lymph glands underneath their chin, this is another sign of allergies. And it can be environmental, but it's often connected to food allergies too. People who have swollen tonsils, any swelling in the body, actually. I had one patient that would react to his allergens. I don't remember what they were at the time, but his prostate would swell markedly and within a very short period of time. And he'd start having problems with urination and things like that. When he stayed away from his food allergies, the prostate shrunk down to the natural and normal size that it should be, and his urinary problems resolved. So if you see someone who's always got sinus congestion, always has a Kleenex box wherever they go, little things like that tell you that there might be a problem. Now, let me mention one other thing. People who suddenly have mental things like a sudden episode of anger and they can't figure out where it came from. They just say, all of a sudden I got so angry, or all of a sudden I was so sleepy, I just wanted to crash, or all of the sudden I just got so upset and started crying. I didn't know what came over me. Well, these type of mood reactions can also come from a food allergen. So I had one patient who, I forgot what she ate, but she was allergic to, I think, corn. And she drank something that had corn in it. And all of a sudden she got really mad at her husband and irritated. And there was nothing. He didn't do anything wrong. There was no instigation of this. And he had been versed that she had food allergies and what it would present as and what to watch out for. And there's a way to neutralize these. And all of a sudden, he realized that his wife was being irrational. It came on suddenly. And he said, I think you're having a food allergy reaction. Went and got something to neutralize it. She drank it. And within 5 minutes, all of a sudden, that was totally resolved. The mood was gone. These things are really interesting because if you learn how to work with them, you can really have a better life. Now, a lot of people, when they are tested for food allergies, will say, oh, I can't give that up. It's my favorite food. How will I survive? Well, there is a lot more depth to that reaction than the patient probably realizes. And the deal is that food allergens can stimulate endorphins in your body so that these are happy hormones. And people like these. These are, associated with any kind of addiction, any kind of thrill that you're doing, and all these endorphins come out. And people get to craving these endorphins. And without them, things kind of aren't as good. Food allergies commonly will stimulate endorphin production and can result in addictions. Food allergy addictions actually occur. This is when you have cravings for a particular food, or you start eating something and all of a sudden it's like a burst of joy. It's just like, oh, this is the most wonderful thing in the world I've ever eaten. These are way above and beyond this kind of tastes good or something. There's a difference. There's sparkle in these people's eyes. Oftentimes I will ask patients, especially new patients, is there anything that's your favorite food? Something you really like? Most people with food allergy problems will interrupt me before I can finish asking the question. Oh, yes, bread. I love bread. I could eat a loaf of bread. These things are abnormal reactions, and they abnormal reactions for healthy, normal people, but very normal reactions for people who have food allergy problems. So, watch out for the addiction. And I want to talk about one more case before I finish this particular podcast. And it had to do with a woman that wanted to lose weight. Um, and when I have people come in, I always do a history and physical and so on. I saw a lot of signs with her that she may have allergies. I saw some things in her history that indicated that as well. And when I looked at her diet, it's like the morning she'd have a scoop of cottage cheese, and then she'd have some yogurt for lunch, and then she'd have macaroni and cheese for dinner with a glass of milk, and very high dairy product thing. She had become overweight. And she said, well, maybe I should check for food allergies and that. And I thought for a minute, and I said, I can run a food allergy test. They're $200 or $300 at that time. They actually have decreased in cost, by the way. But I said, I can tell you what you're allergic to right now. And if you're willing to give it a shot and try to eliminate these foods, I think you could lose weight pretty easily and you would feel a lot better. Well, I actually talked her into trying it. And I gave her a little trick to stop the cravings as well. I think I scheduled her in a couple of weeks to just see how she's doing. I didn't really trust that she would do this by herself, and I figured she'd need some support. Anyway, she came back in. She had lost weight already, a fair amount, actually, within a few weeks. And she felt better. Everything was better. She had eliminated her major allergen, and the side effects you can get from food allergies. You can get cravings, loss of control for eating, and swelling, puffiness. So when you stop them, the first thing that happens is you get rid of all that fluid puffiness. This has helped her feel good already because losing that puffiness meant losing weight, and she felt she was on the right track. Then she lost some real weight, but she felt so much better because she was substituting non-allergenic foods for all the ones with allergies. And occasionally she did slip up at one point, and she felt worse right away. And then she neutralized the reaction and felt better again and said, I'm not going to do that. So this was a joy to work with this particular patient because I could identify so quickly what was going on with her and help her. I'd like to talk a little bit more about some other interesting cases, so stay tuned for more exciting information. Thanks for listening, and have a great day.
Thank you so much for listening. If you learned something, don't forget to share with a friend. You can visit us at www.drmarzell.com. We create content for you. If there's a subject we have not discussed or a topic you want to dive deeper into, let us know how we can empower you. Questions can